Hello Twitter, my name is Nina and I'm the Planetarium Coordinator at Glasgow Science Centre, and you can find me on Twitter at Nina Needs Space. Here in the Planetarium at Glasgow Science Centre, which is where I am right now, we get asked quite a lot of interesting questions. We get asked things like, did we land on the moon? We did. We get asked things like, is the Earth flat? No, it's round. But we also get asked things like, I have found an interesting rock. Do you think it's a meteorite? So, given that we are going to be practicing social distancing, we might be going on nice long walks, a safe distance away from each other, you might find an interesting rock and you might wonder if what you found is a meteorite. So I'm going to give you a very quick guide to try and help you work out if what you found is a meteorite or not. So there's a few different ways of doing this. The first is super simple. All you need to do is hold your possible meteorite in your hand. Meteorites are quite dense, so if your possible meteorite feels quite a lot heavier than, say, an Earth rock of a similar size, that could well be a meteorite, maybe pass the first test. The second way to test if what you found is a meteorite or not is just to have a look at it. Meteorites, as they pass through the atmosphere, generate what's called ram pressure, which generates heat, which results in the outside of a meteorite looking a little bit burnt and crispy. We call this a fusion crust. This is a meteorite, so you can see it does have a fusion crust. So that is another way to test, so you might well have passed that test as well. Another way to check if what you found is a meteorite or not is to have a wee look for what are called regmaglets. That is one of my favourite words in science, second only to spaghettification. And regmaglets are sort of thumb-like impressions, not necessarily thumb size, but thumb-like impressions in your meteorite that are again generated by its passage through the atmosphere. This is, again, a meteorite. This is an iron meteorite compared to stony meteorite that I showed you a moment ago. Another way to test is to check and see if your meteorite is magnetic. So even the stony meteorites will have maybe a small amount of iron or nickel in them that actually results in them being magnetic. So this one, even though it's a stony meteorite, is magnetic. You've got an iron meteorite, which is definitely magnetic. Another way you can test to see if what you found is a meteorite is just to scratch it on the bottom of an unglazed tile, on the bottom of a mug. If it leaves a mark, it's not a meteorite. So meteorites will not leave a mark when scratched against the bottom of a tile or a mug. So there you go, a few simple ways that you can test to see if what you find on your walk is an interesting rock or if it's a meteorite. I'm sure most geologists would argue that all rocks are interesting, but personally I think that rocks from space are arguably the most interesting. Good luck and happy meteorite hunting. Bye folks.